Welcome everybody, and thank you all for coming. Today marks a very monumental day as the presidency is being passed from Huge Bob to Austin. I would like to welcome the outgoing administration, who are sitting on my left, and the incoming administration, who are all sitting on my right. And I would like to thank Secretary Mad, Secretary Jones, Secretary Sixbody, Secretary Muffin, Secretary Austin, Secretary Vanquish, Vice President and Secretary Zapp, and President Huge Bob for running such an effective administration and bringing so much positive change to Redmond. And now I would like to introduce the Honorable Judge Westray, who will be introducing and administering the oath of office to Vice President-elect Vanquish.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Redmont,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Redmont,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or repeat.
Purpose of evasion.
Purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office that I am about to enter.
So help me end.
So help me end.
Okay, congratulations. Now Vice President Vanquish will address the nation for the first time.
For those who don't know me, hi, my name is Vanquish. Today is a big day for Redmont, and before I get into everything, I want to take a step back in time from where we are right now to reflect on my journey here. I joined back in August of 2020. I started in the Department of Justice as a sergeant and worked my way to deputy secretary. Soon after, I took a seat within the Senate of Redmont where I began my congressional portfolio. After some time, President Westray took a gamble on an inexperienced senator and nominated me as Secretary of Environment and Recreation, where I've spent the last 6 months. I've also been the proud mayor of Willow for the last several months. After serving at every level, I believe my unique perspective will help push the nation forward. I want to apply my knowledge of the unknown into this vice presidency with me, as I believe it will benefit the surrounding. Throughout this time, however, I have met countless individuals in this community that helped shape my perspective of mine. Today, I'd like to extend my gratitude towards some of those individuals. Crix, you have been instrumental in helping me begin where I am today. If it was not for you, Crix, I would not have been in the political field of Redmont. For pushing me into the Senate unexpectedly, I thank you. For the first time you've given me navigating me through the political sphere, I thank you. For sitting down with me and teaching me what it means to be an effective politician, I thank you. Torpy, the past 3 weeks have been stressful to say the least. You are someone who has at every step of the way told me I could do it. Staying up with me, making sure I was okay, and praying seconds before they released the election results, just so I could be happy. Torpy, I thank you for standing by my side and having my back these past few weeks. You've always believed in me more than I believed in myself, and for that I thank you. Talks. Don't even get me started. We have been friends for 9 months. You have been the person staying up late with me till the morning while I'm stressing out on the other end of the Discord call. I could go on and on about you and our friendship. This is about me and the position I'm about to take on head first. Talks, I thank you for everything. Without you, I would have not met the people I've met on here. I love you. Thank you. Digi, the rapper in Congress, asked to VC about opening, some realtor thing in Willow? Can't remember. Digi, from the day we met, you've been a bright, outgoing person. You've always been someone with, no matter what, brings light into a dark room after an argument in politics. Digi, you've always been there for me when I have not been there for you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you just not as friends, but as political partners as well. Question. Mr. Ray, I want to thank you for pushing me to be environmental secretary. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve in a position I never saw myself being in. Inviting me into your cabinet for the first time. I thank you for the advice and the friendship you've given me along the way. Without you and the time and the guidance you've given me as a mentor, boss, and friend, I would not be here today. I would have not met Austin, and that brings me to Austin himself. Austin, from months hating each other to now, standing next to you as we were about to step in the highest elected office on the server, I'm in amazement. To be here today, it feels we are about to face reality as we've been living in a dream these past couple of days. Sitting with President-elect and Vice President-elect tags. I cannot wait to see what the next 4 months holds for us. At the end of the day, I'm happy I'm experiencing this with you. the man who chose me to serve next to him as his vice president. Thank you for giving me the trust you've given me so I could be here today. Friends forever, partners in politics, husband and wife, I thank you. To the people of Redmont, thank you, Redmont, for electing me to serve you these next 4 months. I promise I will not let you down. Going forward, I want to let the citizens of Redmont listening here today and reading this transcript to know that I am prepared. I am ready to get to work for you. I'm here today because all of you put me here, and I will never forget that. I will serve each and every one of you to the best of my ability as vice president. Again, I'm only here because you put me here. Thank you. Before I leave, there's a quote I'd like to share today. Before you are a leader, success is about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is about growing others. Jack Welch. Over these next 4 months, I look forward to succeeding and growing with all of you. Thank you, Redmont.
Okay, thank you, Vice President Vinquish. And now the Honorable Judge Westray will administer the oath of office to President-elect Austin.
I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Redmont,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Redmont,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me end.
So help me end.
Congratulations.
And now President Austin will address the nation for the first time.
Citizens of Redmont, I stand here today humbled for the position you've placed me in. I praise those who have come before me for the work they put into this nation to get us to where we are today. This government is entirely an experiment. Presidential elections in Minecraft are something very few do. I'm proud to say that I'm not only the 5th president of Redmont, but also the 3rd elected president of Redmont. I cannot place enough emphasis on why that is such an important thing. In the past year, we built a fully functioning democratic government on a Minecraft server. We have political parties, rivalries, and alliances all within our little community. I am honored, humbled, and overwhelmed by the idea that you all elected me to be your next leader. Before I address our vision for the future of Redmont, I would be remiss if I didn't extend a couple thank yous as well. And first, to those who also sought this position. Vanquish and I both know the difficulties of running a presidential campaign, and it's not something you do to just do. You have to believe in yourself that you are the best person to be the head of government for the next 4 months. To 1950 and Sprite, you two ran an admirable campaign, dedicated in every way to putting the people first. 1950, you are persistent and dedicated, day in and day out to this server. I hope that you will continue your time here in public service, and I hope to work with you in the months going forward. To Zab and Elena, I know what this election meant to the both of you, and after some rocky interactions between our campaigns, I know we don't necessarily see eye to eye right now, and that's okay. I have full faith that time will heal the wounds of this campaign season. However, as I stand here in this spot as your president, I commit myself to working for you, no matter our personal or political differences. And that goes for every citizen of Redmont, whether you voted for me or not. I am devoted to ensuring the success of every individual. Zab has a long history in this government, and one that I truly admire. I hope to work with him in the next 4 months that I occupy this office, preferably on both a professional and personal level. As for Elena, I am delighted that she will be joining me in my executive cabinet as the next Secretary of Justice. A massive congratulations to her. I have full faith that she will run the Department of Justice with dignity and compassion. And congratulations to Andre, who has now officially taken over the responsibilities of Speaker of the House. To end in tech. When I first joined DemocracyCraft, you were the administration I looked up to. Ben was president, Tech was vice president. It was what seemed like an unstoppable duo. There was no thought in my mind that nearly 9 months later, I too would be president, with Vanquish at my side. I thank the both of you for your passion and dedication to DemocracyCraft, a server filled with hope and light for all ages and all interests. I am honored that as owners, you let presidential elections occur. It's not an easy task allowing the members of our community to elect the leader of the government. As N once said, quote, "The power that the president assumes will shape the future of the server, or break it." I promise to be mindful of every action I take, knowing that it very well could be an action that breaks this server and the community we've all worked so hard to develop. Now to Bob and the outgoing administration. It has been my honor to serve the citizens of Redmont with you as the Secretary of State for the past 3 months. This cabinet has felt like a family, one that unified ourselves in times of hardship, yet worked separately to administer our departments and push this government forward with strong progressive policies on a daily basis. Now, Bob, West may have been the first elected president, but you certainly defined the role in a whole new way. Some could argue for the worse, and while some could argue for the better. I am grateful for your compassion and heart for this server and this government. Shortly, you will be leaving both, something that I have been dreading for a while now. You're moving on to bigger and better things, and that I admire. But don't forget, when you make your first million, this cabinet will be waiting on those checks to arrive in our mailboxes. Much love, always. To Lil Digivert and friends, I wouldn't be standing here on this stage without your love and support. Digi, you are my campaign manager in my first presidential campaign, and before then and since, you have remained a loyal friend and advocate for our joint beliefs. What the public doesn't see is the countless hours spent conversing with individuals such as yourself to make this government run. You're the in-house speechwriter and the best rapper DC has ever seen. My friends, you all know who you are. I stand here on this stage for a reason. I stand here because the people chose me to lead this government. But what they don't realize is that I'm just the candidate. There are countless people behind the scenes who support me and have allowed me to get to this stage. I'm humbled and grateful to be a part of this community. My friends have embraced me for who I am, no matter what challenges I throw their way. They are always willing to help. I have 4 months ahead of me, and I know that today, they will be with me through it all. I love y'all, and I can't thank you enough. And finally, to you, the people, the citizens of the Commonwealth of Redmont. This is our nation, but for many of us, DemocracyCraft is our second home. For me, being a member of this community means a feeling of love, of acceptance, and of passion. Just 4 days ago, Vanquish and I sat silent in a VC while we awaited the election results. We sat hopeful but anxious. As we waited for the results, countless members of this community comforted us and gave us hope. As we saw the notification from government announcements, our hearts sank as we read the message. An uproar in the stage VC occurred, and Vanquish and I knew we had won. It's a feeling like no other, and only 2 people can relate to that, Crix and Bob. The moral of that story is this: we simply wouldn't be here today without the people. My promise has always been to, quote, put the people first. That means over politics, over party, and over power. That promise still holds true today. The people of the Commonwealth of Redmont are my first priority. We have representatives and senators in Congress who share individual ideals, but my task as president is to fight for every citizen, whether you voted for me or not. I pledge that from today on and for the next 4 months, I will fight harder than I've ever fought before, to do what's best for our citizens. And that brings us to today. A day of unity, of hope, of laughter, and of fun. Today marks the beginning of a 4-month journey that the history books will call the Austin administration, where I will strive day in and day out to push this government forward with my progressive agenda. I will trust in the members I have placed in my executive cabinet, and especially my Vice President Vanquish. Together, she and I will form a government that stands for unity rather than toxicity, compassion rather than division, and most importantly, people rather than politics. That was my first promise to you on the campaign trail and still holds true today. This will be a government that always puts the people first. Now, with that being said, there are a myriad of issues that I plan to address to improve the quality of Redmont and DemocracyCraft as a whole. First and foremost, my presidency will start the era of foreign relations. As some of you may have noticed, President Coalition and Prime Minister Info of BusinessCraft join us here today. Upon my victory, President Cole reached out to me to extend a warm congratulations and to form a connection between our 2 nations. President Bob and I, along with many others, worked in the final months of this administration to make foreign relations possible. Most recently, we nominated and the Senate confirmed our official ambassador, Ansgard. I am delighted to say that via his persistence and passion for this venture, BusinessCraft also appointed their own ambassador, Gabby, who joins us here today as well. I have the great honor, on behalf of the Commonwealth of Redmont, to do something today that I'm very proud of. This nation is hereby gifting a plot of land to the government of Stratham for an embassy that will house the very core of the affairs between our two nations. I will personally be showing President Cole and Prime Minister Info to the site at the conclusion of this ceremony. Foreign relations will be a massive part of my administration, but I must also focus on our land here at home. I campaigned on town autonomy and real reform. Many of you either live in or own land in a town, possibly even multiple towns. As Secretary of State, I worked for 7 months with mayors on a daily basis. I have heard their concerns and I will address them. Later today, I will sign my first executive order as president, outlining the changes to the town system as well as an additional 5th town. I say this now, citizens, change is coming. For a short while now, we have seen suffering in our economy. My campaign was run on bringing stabilization to such. Drastic deflation and lack of jobs must be addressed and resolved. I made a promise that change would come on day 1 of my administration, and although some would argue that tomorrow's day 1, my administration will begin such change today. In the next 24 hours, the public will see a government buyback program for ores such as diamonds, which have recently seen a dramatic deflation. Not only will this stimulate our economy, but prices will be restored to where they were and should remain. Our towns utilize the build world, being built entirely via creative. This comes at the detriment of those citizens who run building block businesses. Now, just as I said before, in the next 24 hours, the public will also see a government tender for towns and other large government buildings that were built entirely from creative. It's time to get money into the pockets of our citizens and build this economy back. I close this speech with the following. Everyone has a boss. My boss is the people. I pledge myself to work for the citizens of Redmont wholeheartedly, without any mental reservation for the next 4 months. I am willing to adapt, to compromise, to understand, and to listen, but the will of the people will always come first. As my predecessor always said, and I will continue to say, my fellow citizens, glory to Redmont.
Congratulations to everybody, and that includes our inauguration. I'd like to thank everybody for coming, especially those who came from Stratham, and both administrations are welcome inside the Brown House ballroom. And once again, please congratulate our new administration and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Bob, you're still in here? We love you, Bob. We're gonna miss you.
Goodbye.
See you guys. Have a good one.